The RNC concluded yesterday. Concluded with like a 70-minute speech by Donald Trump, which, if you've listened to any speech he's given in the past like 3 months, it was identical to any speech he's given in the past 3 months. All of his speeches are like the same. He complains about like looters and agitators. He doesn't talk about what they're protesting, but he just talks about that they're doing bad things. It's not really addressing the underlying causes behind why these people are protesting, but it's just... I was going to say in his mind it's bad that they're protesting, but in his mind, it's not bad that they're protesting, it's bad that they're against what he wants them to be. So if you're against Donald Trump, you're against America in his mind. He is America. That's why all of his children spoke. Like, I think people are giving him crap. Well, they're giving him crap because, like, your political convention, it's supposed to showcase the stars of your political party, not just the stars for president and vice president, but, like, you know, your future presidential hopefuls, up-and-coming governors and senators. It's an outlet for those people. The RNC did not look like an outlet for those people. If the people that were promoted at the RNC are the future of the RNC, I am frightened for the future of the RNC. Because those were some incredibly boring and brown-nosing people that spoke there. It was just Trump family members and, like, politicians I hadn't heard of. It's like, oh, it's the Attorney General for Kentucky. Why? I don't know who that is. I don't care who that is. Why is that guy there? Why? You're really going to get somebody better? Like, where is, like, Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio and Jeb Bush, Mitt Romney, Paul Ryan, George H.W. Bush, Dick Cheney, if he's still... Is Dick Cheney alive? I think Dick Cheney's alive. Maybe. You know, I haven't heard... no, Dick Cheney's dead. I haven't heard anything about Dick Cheney in a while. Dick Cheney definitely died. He probably died in, like, 2013, 2014. Probably had a heart attack. Dick Cheney's dead. I was going to say rest in peace, Dick Cheney, but don't rest in peace. You were an awful person. Rest in misery. R.I.M. You awful, awful man. But yeah, that was the RNC. The first night was Donald Trump Jr. and Kimberly Guilfoyle coked out of their minds, yelling and ranting about America. Not yelling and ranting, just... My father is amazing. My father will solve all of our problems. Joe Biden is awful. Joe Biden has caused so many problems. Really? The senator from Delaware has caused more problems than the current president? Okay. If you say so. I'll smoke to that. So that was night one. That was all we had. Oh, we had Tim Scott. I didn't listen to Tim Scott. Because I was told the RNC was from 5:30 to 7:30, and he spoke after 7:30, so I assumed... He wasn't like a main speaker, so I just didn't care. Night two. Who was night two? Oh, night two was when Melania spoke. That was a horrible speech. That was one of the worst speeches I've ever heard in my life. Like, it doesn't seem like she does much. She doesn't have a job. She doesn't work like a 40-hour-a-week job someplace and, like, commute to and from the White House. She just lives at the White House, and, like, that's her job. Like... I can't see much more on her agenda for the past few weeks other than that speech that she had to give. And like when she went up to give that speech, she read it like it was her first time she read that speech. That woman has absolutely no charisma whatsoever. That's ridiculous. Like, she has no job. She could have easily memorized that speech, but she had to, like, pathetically read it off of a teleprompter. And poorly read it too. There were so many, like, grammatical errors. I don't know if it was if she wrote it and it was poorly written and not fact-checked, or like she just can't read, but there were so many grammar errors, and you should not have grammar errors at a convention speech by the First Lady when it's her primetime speech. That's a problem. Or at least it should be, because it didn't really seem to dissuade any Republican voters. Nothing dissuades Republican voters. You can't dissuade Republican voters. Republican voters just find out their beliefs are bullshit and they leave the party, but until that happens, they're stuck in there. They don't want to think they're wrong. Oh, man. All right, I'm going to get myself worked up. I'm going to smoke. So that was night two. Night two was Melania speaking. I don't think anyone else smoked night two. Did anyone else speak on night two? No one even. I don't remember anybody else who spoke on night 2. So night 3. Did they have any Trump children speak on night 2? No, it was just Melania. I don't think they did. Because night 2 they had Eric and Tiffany speak. That was just awful. Both those speeches were awful. Vote for my father. Vote for my father. Joe Biden's bad. Joe Biden's dad. My father didn't do this one thing, but this one bill got passed while my father is president, and we're going to take 100% credit for the passage of this bill. Vote for my father. Joe Biden's bad. Congress did this while my father was the president. And my father was solely responsible for it, even though he had no part in the legislative process of this bill. Yeah. Space Force. I thought that was just a terrible Netflix show, not like a real thing that was going to get discussed at the Republican convention. What the fuck is Space Force? Is it like Space Force is NASA? At least it's supposed to be. If we have, so there's NASA and Space Force? That seems redundant. Why don't you just merge them? What is the Space Force doing? I guess the Space Force is policing the Earth from the space. Like Ronald Reagan's Star Wars. Why? That's what I want to be, is watched more by the government. I love the government watching me. The government's watching us at all the time. The government's probably watching me right now through this camera. There are 2 people who will watch this footage. Myself and a government agent. Nobody else will watch this. Even if I put it up on YouTube and it makes the cut, nobody's going to watch it. Nobody should be. It's not good enough content. It's bad content with bad sound and blown out images with 5 lights in a room. My God, I don't need 5 lights. The biggest thing that happened this week was not the RNC convention. That was a boring thing that happened this week. The biggest thing that happened this week was the NBA started boycotting games. The NBA and MLB boycotted some of their games. They didn't boycott their games. You can't boycott your own game. They went on strike because they were angry because a black man was killed. What's his name? Jacob Blake? Yep. Jacob Blake was shot 7 times in the back while walking away. Not running away from police. Walking away from police. Without any weapons and with his back to them. Just got up, walked away. It was like they were going to arrest him. He was like, nah, I ain't doing this stuff. I ain't doing this today. Screw you guys. I'm going home. At least that's what he tried to do. Because he got up from, like, the police had him on the ground. He got up, walked up, and tried to get into his car. But then, right as Jacob opened up the door and was about to get into his car, a police officer pulled the back of his t-shirt, or just grabbed the back of his t-shirt, and then shot him 7 times in the back. He shot him 7 times in the back. I saw the video. It's brutal. It's brutal. I don't know why why 7 times? I mean, like, wouldn't one bullet do it? You shot him at point blank range. Didn't one shot do enough? Why 7? Like, 7's probably a whole clip for those guns. Is it? Maybe. I don't know. Maybe it holds 7, or because maybe it holds like 6 around. Maybe it has 6, then it has another in the chamber, so you get 7. That's what I'm guessing. Maybe, I don't know. Some of those, I think up to like 20, 21. That's still crazy though. 7 shots. And from a law enforcement, like, that guy's supposed to be the professional. The professional, like, when you get up and walk away from a professional, he shoots you 7 times in the back. What a coward. Oh my God, these cops take their job too seriously. It's just like, I get the fact that you're supposed to enforce the law, but I don't think anybody wants the law enforced this vigorously. Like, if someone drives away from a police stop, you don't need to kill the guy. Get his license plate down. You know, when you do catch him, hit him up with an extra charge, give him a bigger fine, more community service. We don't need to be killing people over this. We're sending too many people to jail. Too many people are going to jail, and not enough people are paying fines and doing community service. I'm seeing too much trash on the road. I would much rather, like, but it's Domino's quality. That's where you sacrifice. Dominos isn't bad. It's not good, but it's not bad. I wonder if the setup's any good. I'm so bright. Actually, I was watching some stuff yesterday, like that Jordan Peterson guy. He's got a dark setup. It's so dark. He has like 2 faint lights that kind of like light up his face, so he doesn't have like the face-off face, like the John Travolta. I think it was John Travolta and Nicolas Cage. Yeah, it was those guys. Yeah, it was definitely those 2 guys. Like that one had like the light. There was both those guys. And it was set up, I think it was like 2 different pictures, and like they had it sort of like a hard shadow on like half their face. I don't know what that movie's about. I think it was about like each guy had like the other guy's face sewed onto his face. They didn't have, like, they had their faces removed, each of them, and then the other guy had each other guy's face. And then they had like a death fight, and that was the face off. They faced off in a fight, and they faced off against their faces. It's like a lot of different face-offs, like 3 or 4 different face-offs, because like they're facing off against their old face. Their old face is facing off against them. That's kind of the same thing. That's what I just said, but from the other perspective. I don't know, but there's a lot of different face-offs. I don't even know what I'm talking about. I got too into face-off. I was looking at Jordan Peterson. Yeah, he has that weird lighting. That guy's voice is so high. Like, I see memes about him on Reddit, and I never watched a video, and I watched one. He had a high voice, my God. It's like, even before I went through puberty, I don't think my voice was that high. I've never had a voice as high as that guy's voice currently is. And that guy is anywhere from his late teen to early 40s. God. Just one of those timeless faces. Who knows how old that guy is. And it's the voice, too. It's such a soft, high voice. He has to be. He just looks young. He looks young, he sounds young, he acts young. Like, he has like the same views I had when I was like ages 15 through 18. I was just like an awful, evil person. I'd be so afraid of my teenage self. My teenage self was like way stronger than me, and he could totally kick my ass. B, he probably would, because he's just a fucking dick. It's funny to pee on people's door handles. Because then when like they touched it, they're like touching someplace you peed. Or always touching your piss, and if you never tell them, they're like, oh, it's sticky, it's weird. Must have had juice, must have spilled juice on here or something. I don't drink juice. I haven't had juice here in years. Maybe it's cum. It'd be weird if people kept cum rags out. I used to keep a cum rag out. I used to have like a blanket that was just like a cum rag. It's disgusting. Just covered in cum. It's so sick. If you get all of your news from Donald Trump's Twitter feed, then apparently what happened was Joe Biden, for the first time, like, ever, got a 0% bump in the polls following his convention, which is crazy. And apparently Trump got like a huge bump in the polls now. And now he's beating Biden nationally because of it. It was such a success. But that's the view you would have if you only got your news from Trump's Twitter feed. What's the difference between a police officer and a Trump supporter? One's on the clock and one's not. Lettuce, I'm not going to buy lettuce because it goes bad in like a day. If you buy a bag of lettuce, you got to eat it like right then and there. It's like when you go home, it's like, I'm eating this now, or it's going to be bad in a little bit. Lettuce goes bad so quickly. Or maybe I just don't know how to preserve it well. I put it in the crisper. Maybe it's making it too crisp. It used to be less crisp. It used to be the least crisp as it possibly can be. That's what I'm doing now. Maybe. Or not. I don't know. I don't know how lettuce works. I could research it, but I don't want to. How to preserve lettuce. Falsities. Is that even a word? I'll make it one. I'll add it to the dictionary. I'll add it to Wikipedia. And if they delete it, I'll just keep forcing it until they block my IP. And then I'll move and get a new IP. And then they'll block that. And it'll just be a game of me spending tons of money to keep moving residences just to get new IP addresses so I can get the word falsities on Wikipedia a consistent amount of times so that people start using it. I don't think they would use it because you still need like Webster's dictionary. You need a lot of places to recognize a word for people to start using it. It's probably a process to get a word going. I want to get the word zope going. I think it could be cool. Like when something's like really dope and it's so dope that dope just doesn't even describe how dope it is, you can use zope. Like that's so dope it's zope. And when something's like really zope, you can say it's zo-zope. Or it could be zo-zo-zo-zope. That's zo-zope, man. That's zo-zope, it's zo-zo-zope. That's zope. It's gonna be awful. Probably has ads in it. I hate ads. Everyone hates ads. Even though they're like the backbone of media because nobody wants to pay for media anymore. Yeah, if nobody's paying for media and nobody's looking at ads. If you're not doing that, nobody's making money from making media. So the only media you're going to get is from people who are okay just not making money off it. People who are doing like a hobby. Kind of like me. Yeah, but like, people don't want to pay for movie theater prices. People don't want to pay for cable. People don't want to pay for streaming things. People don't want to watch ads. There's no way to get money. Like that'll be the death of media. We'll just watch our old media. Which isn't bad. We got a lot of old good TV shows. We got like The Wire, Breaking Bad, Mad Men. That's 3 shows. There's other good shows, too. Man, Europe has some small countries. Macedonia? Oh, that's small. That's so small. And it's sad because I believe like Alexander the Great was the guy who built up Macedonia. I mean, I think it was kind of like more like an expansion of the Greek Empire, but like... I think it was because I know in civilization, Alexander the Great represents as the Greek, so I assume it is, but... I mean, I always learned in history it was Macedonia that he conquered for, and Macedonia had the huge empire, so I kind of assumed it was them, and now they're just like a tiny little nation. I've heard they're impoverished. Maybe. Who knows? Well, people know. A lot of people know. The people who live there know. People know. People know. I don't, but other people do. I don't know a lot of things. I don't really know anything. I know very few things.